Welcome back, it's Darius, and as always I have the solution to last video's challenge. As you can see, I did it with an if, an else if, and an else. We check to see if it's less than 5 to alert red, check to see if password length is less than 7 to alert yellow. Otherwise, if it's not less than 5 and it's not less than 7, it must be greater than 7. Let's test this program. If our password length was 3, whoa! Well, let me open up the right file. We get red. If it's 6, we get yellow, and if it is like 24, we get green. By the way, with this program it makes 8 green, but to be completely honest, 8 characters for a password nowadays could get cracked pretty easily. So just personal advice, I guess, like longer than 8 would be pretty cool. Anyway, that's totally an aside. Well, in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what can go inside the condition for an if statement. And we have these comparisons that we can do between variables and numbers, and you know, what else out there is, what else is there? Well, one simple variation we can do is to check if it's less than or equal to some number, okay? And that's pretty intuitive. The other thing is, of course, checking if it's greater than equal is complementary to that. And you can also check if two things are equal. It's a little bit counterintuitive. You might think you could check if they're equal like this, and you still might think so even after running it and seeing that it does what you expect, okay? Except wait a minute. Just because the program ran didn't mean to do the right thing, because password length is 8 and we checked it against 5 and it ran. So wait, 8 is definitely not equal to 5. What's going on? Well, this is the single equals sign is an assignment every time you use it. What happens here is that password length gets assigned to 5, and in JavaScript, when you do an assignment, the return value or the result of that is what it got assigned to. So that might seem a little bit confusing at first, but what if I were to do something like this? Let x equal to password length equals 5. Okay. When we do this assignment, it will set password length equal to 5, but then the result of this entire thing is going to be 5. Okay? And let me just prove that real quick. Let's alert x, and it's 5. So that is why when you use a single equals sign in an if statement, it will always be true. Well, unless of course you set password length to false. But that wouldn't make much sense now, wouldn't it? Okay, so what we need to do is use a double equals sign, which will, that's called a comparison operator, or an equivalence operator, and I can make that even more muddy in a second. You'll see. Oh, I have not gotten used to that yet with the curly braces thing. So now it would do what we expect. I'm apparently getting lazy with my alert messages. Let's see. Oh. We called it X. And this time if we set it back to 8, nothing happens. Sweet. Now this is the perfect opportunity to talk a little bit more about strings. You might be wondering, why are we talking about strings when we were just using numbers? Well, JavaScript, the way JavaScript works, the two are actually related in a strange way. Yes, so strings, you've heard me say it over and over, and maybe I have neglected to really clarify what strings are, but it's essentially text, okay? Like here, this is a string, and whenever we used those tick marks, that also is a string, and it's a string of characters. Programming languages across the board use the word string to refer to text or a string of characters. Alright, well, something that can be a common point of confusion is whenever you put a number inside of a string, how does that compare with a actual number? Okay, and well, let's see what happens. You know what, rather than this if, you could keep using the if statement, but I'm going to put the expression directly inside of the alert, and it'll make it just a little more concise. We're going to compare, well, first we're going to compare string 5 with string 5. I used tick marks to make this 5, and I used single quotes to make this 5. Alert the value is true. Cool. So string 5 is equivalent to string 5 no matter if you use double quotes, single quotes, tick marks, okay? And remember that tick marks are the only ones that let you do that curly $sign string interpolation. But what if you were to put a number 5 in there? Well, of course this shouldn't work because wait a minute, it does work, it's true, what's going on? So, this is a little bit counterintuitive because you would think that a string, the character 5, should be different than the number 5, or at least it would seem, but whenever you're using the double equal sign, it converts the string 5. Actually, I believe it converts the second one. I think it converts the number 5 to the string 5, and then it checks them for equality. If you don't want JavaScript to do that conversion, you actually have to use 3 equal signs. And that's getting kind of funky. But this will do what we want. Think of this as like a strict equality. In fact, when you're not sure which one to use this one, because it's the one that makes the most sense, and it does only that. Double equal sign will convert the two types to try to see if they are equal in some way. And oh, wait a minute, I should have left that at triple equals so you can see that false. All right. So that is how strings and numbers are related. In addition to this triple equals and double equals, we also have the exclamation equals. Exclamation mark is it's like a symbol for the word not. So, not equal. Now, with a exclamation and then a single equal sign, it's pretty much the opposite of this one. And in that, it still converts the two types on either side, but it will return the opposite value. So, if you know what, rather than putting that variable in there, we'll make it really concise. If 5 double equals 5 is true, then not equals, that'll be false. Okay. However, with the triple equals variant, string of 5 triple equals number 5, that's false because they're of different types. In this case, if you ask, is string 5 not equal to number 5, the answer is yes. They are not equal because they're different types. Alright? So again, I would advise, unless you are anticipating this whole type conversion thing, just use a not sign with the double equals. Alright? So we have triple equals and not double equals. They're both 3 characters long, and these are like the safe variants. And the other two, okay, so these are no type conversions. These do type conversions. Alright, so that's a pretty confusing or sticky part of JavaScript. It's not only confusing to new JavaScript programmers, but like in general, I think it's a little bit non-intuitive. If I were designing JavaScript language, I probably would have I probably would not have made double equals do a type conversion. But hey, I'm not the one that designed it, and there are instances when you're comparing strings and numbers and you actually do want to convert them to C. Anyway, let's be on a point. Oh, and it's worth mentioning, there's no like 3-character super long variant of our greater than, equal, or less than equal. You know, like there's nothing like that. You don't have to worry about that. Just use that. Just use it. The 2-character. There's actually one thing I want to. This is perhaps off topic, but have you ever noticed how there's not really a good JavaScript logo? I mean, come on, the first result on Google is just a yellow rectangle with the word JS. And I'm pretty sure like one of the #1 rules of logo design is that you shouldn't have to put the name or the abbreviation in the logo itself. Like it should kind of stand by itself, you know what I mean? And some of these other ones are a little bit creative, but honestly, I feel like the JavaScript community hasn't settled upon a good JavaScript logo standard, which is surprising considering how old JavaScript is and how much recent development there's been on it. So, I don't know, what do you guys think? Proposals for JavaScript logos, you know. Anyway. If you still have any questions about the comparison, some of the comparison operators, just ask them in the comments below, or even better, look it up on the internet. You know, check out the Mozilla MDN web docs, or who knows what else. I'm sure, or maybe YouTube, you'll find something to answer your question. But if you do leave a comment, I'll be on it. I know this stuff certainly can be confusing. So, and as far as the challenge goes, this one is fairly simple, especially if you got the last one. For this challenge, I want you to make a sort of high-low game where you'll have a, think of a number, make it like 4, whatever, and then have a guess equal to something, and have a series of if statements. Design a program that will like guide you to finding the right number. So if guess is too high, then it'll say you guessed too high, and if guess is too low, it'll say too low, and if guess is just right, it'll say you win. Something like that, okay? So if you got the last challenge, this one should be fairly straightforward, but it will give you opportunity to use the equality operator. Alright, see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.